Your son is dead. So my son Xavier is dead. Killed by the woke mind virus.
Hold your goddamn horses for 5 more seconds, okay?
Ashley St. Clair hits Elon Musk with paternity suit, seeks sole custody of 5-month-old son.
Elon Musk loves to talk about family, about how civilization depends on people having more kids, about how he is doing his part to save humanity. But here's the thing, one of his own children wants absolutely nothing to do with him. Vivien Jenna Wilson, formerly Xavier Musk, Elon's daughter. In 2022, at just 18 years old, she legally changed her name and gender, making it clear that she wanted to cut ties with her billionaire father. In her legal filing, she stated, in black and white, that she no longer wished to be related to him in any way, shape, or form. By 2024, she wasn't just avoiding Musk, she was calling him out. Serial adulterer.
Hold your goddamn horses for 5 more seconds, okay?
A liar. Someone who pretends to be family-oriented while his personal life tells a very different story. She took aim at his self-proclaimed Christian faith, questioning if he had ever stepped foot in a church and accusing him of putting on a religious act for political clout. And you'd think, maybe, with all his talk about the importance of family, he'd at least keep them in the loop. But no, because Vivien has found out about her new half-siblings the same way the rest of us do, through the internet. In February 2025, she stumbled upon yet another Musk baby announcement.
Wow! If I had a nickel for every time I was doomed by a puppet, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice, right?
This time, it was Selden Lycurgus born to Musk and Neuralink executive Shivan Zilis. Vivien didn't hear it from her father. She didn't get a call, a text, not even a courtesy email. Nope, she found out through Threads. And this wasn't even the first time. A while back, she found out about another Musk baby via Reddit. Think about that for a second. The world's richest man, constantly preaching about how you should be having more kids, can't even be bothered to tell his own children that they have new siblings. This isn't a family. It's a corporate expansion, a growing list of names, each one introduced like a breaking news story instead of an actual human being. But let's step back for a moment. How many kids are we even talking about here? Musk has 14 children with multiple women, 6 with his first wife, Justine Wilson, 3 with Grimes, 4 with Shivan Zilis, an executive at his own company, Neuralink, and of course, 1 with Ashley Street, Claire, an author and political commentator. He's been collecting children like tech startups, jumping from one partner to the next, all while preaching about the importance of reproduction. And yet, despite all his talk about building the next generation, he can't even keep his own family informed about each other's existence. And Musk isn't taking responsibility for any of it. Instead, he blames it all on woke ideology. He claims that Vivien's distance from him isn't because of anything he did, but because of some outside force. As if his own daughter wasn't making her own decisions, but was somehow brainwashed into abandoning him. In 2024, things hit a boiling point when Vivien took aim at Walter Isaacson's high-profile biography of Musk. You'd think a book meant to tell the real story of Elon Musk would at least attempt fairness, right? Wrong. According to Vivien, the book was little more than a hit piece on her, an attempt to twist her into the villain of Musk's so-called origin story. The biography painted her as the reason Musk had become more conservative, the reason he started aligning himself with anti-LGBTQ+ rhetoric. It framed their fractured relationship as the moment Musk supposedly woke up to the dangers of progressive ideology. Convenient, isn't it? The billionaire tech mogul bravely standing against the tide of wokeness, all because of his own child. A tragic, heroic story. At least, that's what Isaacson wanted people to believe. Vivien had other thoughts. She called it humiliating and defamatory, and she had proof to back it up. Isaacson had spent months shadowing Musk, interviewing his friends, his business partners, even his exes. But Isaacson never even spoke to her. Months of research, countless hours spent shadowing Musk, interviews with all his close associates. And yet, the one person who had perhaps the most personal, direct insight into his character? Completely ignored. This wasn't a slip-up. This was a choice. A choice to present a specific version of events. One where Vivien wasn't a real person with real experiences, but just another dramatic subplot in the Musk saga. Vivien called it out for what it was, humiliating and defamatory. And she wasn't alone. The backlash was swift. Critics slammed Isaacson for his lack of journalistic integrity, for failing to include her perspective in a story that directly involved her. The controversy ignited a broader discussion about ethical journalism. Who gets to tell these stories, and whose voices are conveniently left out? According to Vivien, the reason for their estrangement isn't some grand political conspiracy. It's him, his choices, his inability to respect her identity, his willingness to throw his own child under the bus for the sake of his public image. And in November 2024, things escalated even further. Donald Trump was re-elected. The country took another sharp turn toward anti-LGBTQ+ policies. And Wilson had seen enough. She made it official. She was leaving the United States. She called the election outcome deeply disheartening and made it very clear that she didn't feel safe in a country that was increasingly stripping away the rights of trans people. Anti-trans healthcare laws, name and gender marker restrictions, rollbacks of basic anti-discrimination protections. The political climate wasn't just uncomfortable, it was actively dangerous for people like her. And she refused to stay in a place that treated her existence as a political battleground. But the part that really stung, Musk's role in all of it. Musk hadn't just tolerated these political shifts, he'd actively supported them. He'd thrown his weight behind right-wing figures. He'd downplayed the very real threats facing LGBTQ+ people. And when Trump returned to power, Musk's support wasn't just passive, it was loud. Vivien saw it as a betrayal, not just of her, but of basic human rights. And like clockwork, the backlash followed. Some people cheered her decision, expressing solidarity with her fears. Others mocked her, called her dramatic, and accused her of just looking for attention. Musk's supporters rushed to defend him, brushing off Vivien concerns as overblown. On the other, there's Justine Wilson, the woman who actually raised Vivien Jenna Wilson, and, unlike her ex-husband, has never made her feel like an inconvenience or a political talking point. And let's be honest, Vivien needed that. Because when she walked away from Musk, she wasn't just distancing herself from a father. She was cutting ties with a global empire. She was rejecting a last name that carries immense power, wealth, and influence. From the moment Vivien stepped into the public eye, Justine made one thing clear. She wasn't neutral in this. She wasn't taking the typical both sides approach that so many privileged parents do when faced with a trans child and an aggressively transphobic ex-husband. She backed Vivien completely, and that was everything. Vivien didn't have to wonder if her mother was ashamed of her. She didn't have to question whether she was truly loved. She didn't have to defend her existence to someone who was supposed to protect her. Instead, she had unwavering support, the kind that makes all the difference when you're standing against one of the most powerful men on the planet. But if you thought she was just going to quietly go on with her life after walking away from Musk, think again. Especially when he's making headlines for all the wrong reasons. This time, a Nazi salute. Yeah, Musk might have finally crossed a line even he can't pretend doesn't exist. It happened on January 20th, 2025, at a rally packed with Trump's most fervent supporters, celebrating his second presidential inauguration. Musk stood before the crowd, hand over his heart, then extended his arm straight out in front of him, not once, but twice. And let's just say the internet went crazy after this, because we all know what that looked like. Within hours, the footage was everywhere. Historians weighed in. Activists exploded in outrage. Musk's defenders rushed in, calling it a smear campaign, a desperate attempt to take down one of the most powerful men in the world. They insisted it was just enthusiasm, just an awkward movement. But not everyone was so eager to give him the benefit of the doubt, especially not Vivien. She dropped her first post on Threads, a short, cutting statement that left no room for doubt. She spoke of calling a spade a fucking spade. She pointed out that when something happens twice, back to back, after seeing the reaction to the first one, it's not a coincidence. It was obvious what she meant. 2 spades in a row, 2 identical gestures. The second one after the first had already sparked a reaction. People got it. They understood exactly what she was saying. The pushback was predictable. His defenders rushed to frame the entire controversy as a witch hunt. The ADL, the very organization Musk had once accused of trying to destroy him, suddenly decided to play nice. They called it an awkward moment of enthusiasm. Nothing to see here, folks. Move along. This wasn't the first time he stepped into the world of European politics, though. Just ask Vivien. She had been watching his antics unfold for months, her frustration growing with every headline. First, it was his war on regulators, then his clashes with the European Union over content moderation. And now? Now he was backing this. He's throwing his weight behind a party that Germany's own intelligence services have flagged as extremist. He endorses the Alternative for Germany, or AfD, a party known for its nationalist, anti-immigrant, and revisionist rhetoric. This isn't just about politics. This is about power, about a billionaire using his influence to reshape an entire country's future. And the world is paying attention. It all started with a tweet. Only the AfD can save Germany. The moment those words hit the internet, chaos erupted. European officials scrambled. German politicians fumed. The media went into overdrive. Was Musk serious? Was this just another one of his trolling sessions? Or was this something more? It didn't take long to find out. Musk wasn't just tweeting into the void. He was actively campaigning for the AfD. He hosted a live interview with Alice Weidel, one of the party's top leaders, on his own platform. He encouraged Germans to vote for them. And as if that wasn't enough, he appeared virtually at an AfD party convention, delivering a speech that sent shockwaves across Europe. And then he dropped the bombshell. Germany, he declared, needed to move on from its historical guilt. The constant self-flagellation over its past? Unnecessary. Time to look forward, he suggested, not back. If that statement sounds familiar, there's a reason. AfD leaders have been pushing this exact rhetoric for years. Björn Höcke, one of the party's most infamous figures, once called Berlin's Holocaust Memorial a monument of shame. He's openly said that Germany needs a 180-degree turn in how it remembers history. And now, here was Elon Musk echoing the same sentiments. This was no accident. The AfD isn't just another conservative party. It's a party that Germany's own intelligence agency, the Federal Office for the Protection of the Constitution, has labeled a suspected right-wing extremist organization. It's a party with factions, like the Young Alternative, that have been scrutinized for their nationalist and xenophobic rhetoric. It's a party that has built its platform on hardline anti-immigration policies, openly calling for mass deportations and the rollback of Germany's multicultural society. And Elon Musk is helping to normalize it. German officials condemned Musk instantly. Some politicians floated the idea of banning him from Germany altogether. European leaders warned that this was blatant foreign interference in a sovereign nation's election. Human rights organizations called him out for amplifying extremist rhetoric. The backlash was immediate, intense, and widespread. And just when you thought Musk's meddling in politics was alarming, let's talk about something even more unsettling: his obsession with controlling his own bloodline. You've probably heard whispers about it. The Texas compound. The idea that Musk wants the mothers of his children to live together side by side in a carefully curated environment. Sounds bizarre, right? Almost cultish. But here's the thing. It's real. Reports surfaced in late 2024 that Musk had quietly acquired multiple properties in Austin, Texas. The goal? To create a centralized hub where his children could grow up together under his watchful eye. Efficiency, he called it. A way to maximize his time with them. A way to ensure a cohesive family structure. Let's be honest. If anyone else tried this, the media would be calling it a commune, a compound, a breeding experiment. But Musk? He gets to frame it as a noble attempt at family unity. Not everyone's playing along, though. Vivien, the mother of 2 of his children, has reportedly moved in. But Grimes? Not a chance. She's staying far away, tangled in personal and legal conflicts that make her participation in Musk's grand vision impossible. Other mothers have refused as well, either unable or unwilling to uproot their lives to fit into his master plan. So what happens when you build a compound and half the people don't show up? It falls apart. And that's exactly what's happening. The cracks are forming. The doubt is creeping in. Because this isn't just about where Musk's children live. It's about control. The way he talks about reproduction, about legacy, about intelligence, it's unsettling. He's obsessed with declining birth rates. He constantly warns that humanity is on the brink of collapse unless smart people have more children. And guess who he thinks qualifies as smart enough to repopulate the planet? Him. And so, he's taken matters into his own hands. Reports have surfaced that Musk has offered his sperm to friends, acquaintances, sometimes near strangers, as if it were some precious genetic resource that must be spread far and wide. The man isn't just having children, he's engineering a dynasty. And if Musk's Texas experiment was starting to look like a control play, his custody battle with Grimes sealed the deal. Their relationship ended in 2022, but their fight over the kids never did. 3 children, XAE She, Exa Dark Sideral, and Techno Mechanicus. 3 names that sound less like humans and more like something Musk would slap on a prototype. But these aren't experiments. They're kids, and their mother has been fighting tooth and nail just to see them. The cracks started showing early. By late 2024, Grimes made a chilling admission. She hadn't seen one of her children in 5 months. 5 months. She was desperate, calling the situation agonizing. And why? Because Musk had home field advantage. Texas, a state where, according to her, mothers have fewer protections in custody battles. A state where Musk's influence runs deep. She fought to move the case to California, where the courts tend to be less forgiving to billionaire fathers and where child support isn't subject to Texas's strict financial caps. But Musk wasn't budging. He knew the system worked in his favor. And it wasn't just the courts that were against her. Musk's army of lawyers dug through everything. Her modeling work, used against her, her social media posts, weaponized in court. Meanwhile, Musk? The man whose every waking moment is spent tweeting and whose erratic online behavior has wiped billions off Tesla's stock. Somehow, his internet presence wasn't an issue. Somehow, Grimes was the only one whose public life was being used to question her ability as a parent. And then, February 2025 happened. That's when this battle took a dark, horrifying turn. One of their children had a medical crisis, a situation so urgent that, according to Grimes, if it wasn't addressed immediately, it could lead to lifelong impairment. But there was a problem. Musk was not responding. No calls, no texts, no emails, nothing. Grimes was frantic, so she did the unthinkable. She took the fight public. She went onto Musk's own platform, X, and posted a direct plea. Answer me. Our child needs medical attention. And silence. The richest man on Earth, the man who constantly preaches about saving civilization, couldn't be bothered to answer the mother of his child about a medical emergency. The internet exploded. People were horrified. But then, just as suddenly as the post went up, it was gone. Grimes deleted it, later admitting that her public approach had been a mistake. But was it? Or was she just realizing something darker? That there was no winning? That Musk wasn't just ignoring her? He was showing her that she had no power in this fight. And that brings us to the photo. 2024. The White House. A camera flashes, and there, standing next to the US president, is Musk, holding his son, XAEX2, in full view of the world. And Grimes, she wasn't thrilled. Because this wasn't just a father bringing his kid along for a trip. This was a power move, a moment that cemented Musk's narrative that he was the present involved father, the one in control. Never mind that she had spent months fighting for access. Never mind that she was exhausting her last financial resources just to stay in the legal battle. The message was clear. Musk had the money, the system, and the image on his side. And Grimes, she was running out of options. The worst part about this whole custody issue is that Musk doesn't even raise his own kids. He actually has a team of nannies. And yes, they sign ironclad non-disclosure agreements. That means whatever happens behind closed doors, who's actually raising these kids, what they see, what they experience, never leaves the house. Not to the press, not to the courts, not even to their own mother. That's right. Grimes, one of the mothers of his children, has openly admitted that she struggles to get basic information about her own kids because of Musk's NDAs. She's not in the loop. She doesn't know what goes on when they're with him. She has to fight for scraps of information while Musk's legal team keeps everything locked down tighter than a SpaceX launch sequence. And let's be clear, if a normal father pulled something like this, using legal muscle to cut off the mother's access to their own children, it would be called abuse. But Musk, he gets away with it. Why? Because he's Musk. And the secrecy doesn't stop there. Even his own father, Elon Musk, has come forward to call him out. And if you know anything about Elon, you know it takes a special kind of disaster for that man to criticize his own son in public. But he did. And he did not hold back. According to Elon, Musk's kids can't even cross the street by themselves. They've been so sheltered, so coddled, so entirely raised by hired help that at 14 years old, they still need someone to hold their hand. I mean, this is the age when most kids are begging to learn how to drive. Think about that. This is the guy pushing for a Mars colony, a man who claims humanity needs to be tough enough to survive the vacuum of space. Meanwhile, his own kids, according to his own father, can't even step onto a sidewalk without an escort. And he's not just talking about one kid. He claims every single one of Elon's children has their own personal nanny. A literal team of professionals ensuring Musk never has to do the dirty work of actual parenting. Custody issues with Grimes isn't the only legal trouble Elon's been in, though. There's also his scandal with Ashley St. Clair. Ashley Street Clair, a 26-year-old conservative commentator, former TPUSA influencer, and, allegedly, the mother of yet another Musk child. The battleground? A custody fight over a baby that Musk may or may not acknowledge. And the stakes? Oh, just paternity, child support, and a PR disaster that has everyone from legal experts to Twitter warriors picking sides. Let's cut through the noise. St. Clair is accusing Musk of being an absent father. She wants sole custody of the baby, wants Musk to take a paternity test, and shocker, wants child support. Musk, meanwhile, has reportedly been dodging the lawsuit like it's one of his Falcon 9 rockets, narrowly avoiding disaster. His legal team hasn't accepted the court filing, and the whole thing reeks of stalling tactics. Why? Is Musk genuinely unsure if he's the father? Or is this just another billionaire power play, where he decides when and how the battle will be fought? And then there's the nuclear bomb of the whole situation. The baby trapping allegations. If you've spent any time in the more conspiratorial corners of social media, you already know what people are saying. That Street Clair didn't just get pregnant, she planned it. Some claim she saw Musk as a golden ticket, a one-way pass to financial security, power, and relevance. And guess what? There are leaked text messages floating around that supposedly back this up. The messages, if legit, are jaw-dropping. St. Clair allegedly bragged about her ability to manipulate Musk. She reportedly referred to the baby as a rocket baby. She may have even suggested that she knew exactly what she was doing all along. Now, Musk isn't exactly a naive college kid getting scammed for gas money outside a 7-Eleven. He's one of the most powerful men in the world. So how did this happen? Did he fall for it, or is there more to the story? Musk, of course, isn't saying much, at least not directly. Instead, he's playing his usual game of cryptic tweets and vague allusions. He retweeted posts implying that he was set up. He's hinted that this whole situation is an elaborate trap. And his supporters? They're eating it up. To them, this is the latest example of a powerful man being targeted by a woman with a plan. But let's not pretend Musk is some helpless victim. This isn't his first rodeo. His exes, from Justine Musk to Grimes, have alluded to him being distant, difficult to reach, and more focused on Mars than on midnight diaper changes. The longer they drag this out, the more time they have to find a way to flip the script. Do you think Musk's justified in his parenting? Or is he too harsh on some of his children?